So good morning, attendees. We'll give it just a few minutes for people to sign on since I started a little bit late. I'm Asha Ayala. I'm the director of the Work Ready program at the Gresham Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for attending our first Work Ready virtual program. Today we have with us Chef Earl Frederick from, is it the McClaskey Institute of Culinary at Clark College? Did I get that right or did I get it wrong?
The Todd and Maxine McClaskey Culinary Institute at Clark College. I know it's a mouthful, so yeah.
I was very close. I was actually reciting your title to people earlier today, and I was like, I've got this, and I got like through part of it, and then I'm like, wait, I've repeated culinary like 3 times, so it just really did not go over all so well. So like I said, we'll just give it a few minutes for more people to join.
All right.
I probably should have been more creative with my background. I'm in my living room, but we're all working from home. I'm sure everybody understands.
Yeah, I just use a stock background they give me at the college, so.
Well, and I think I need to do the same thing. The stock background for me, though, I could probably, my husband works at Kershaw, and they have mocked up their own backgrounds with our logos, so I think that'll be my next step as well. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a PowerPoint to go through. I don't need to, I'm not a PowerPoint person. We have one to kind of show them things, but I don't think that's necessary, especially if it is demographic.
Yeah, I would agree. I think just more of a kind of casual question and answer would be good. I just want to kind of give it till about 10:35 since we logged
You're all good. I just finished my serve save class, so I don't have another meeting until 1, so I'm good. Perfect.
Did you say you did or didn't have classes on Friday?
We have what we call short courses. This term is meat cutting and fabrication. So we have another butcher that comes in and does that, but this is usually my office hours and pretty much time to catch up. But I am teaching serve safe for the baking and pastry crew because of COVID-19. Now all of a sudden everybody's seeing the importance of what I've been teaching already. So
yeah, you've been teaching that for when we worked together, like from 2010, so 10 years you've been.
Actually, I started in 2007. So yeah, almost 14 years doing this.
Yeah, that's insane. Well, we only have we've got some attendees, so we'll just go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Asha Ayala. I'm the director of the Work Ready program at the Gresham Area Chamber of Commerce. Today is our first Work Ready virtual program, and we are excited to welcome Chef Earl Frederick from the Todd and Maxine McClaskey Culinary Institute at Clark College. So he's going to talk a little bit about his career path. Just for some context, Earl and I have worked together before at Job Corps. I was very impressed with his dedication to his students and his unique way of teaching culinary. It's a passion and a way of life for him. So I'm very excited to welcome him. A little bit about Earl today. He has 15 years of experience as an executive chef, culinary arts instructor, kitchen manager, and catering chef. He graduated from Johnson & Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island, and has also pursued a degree in business management from Warner Pacific College in Portland, Oregon. That background led to chef positions with Walt Disney World, Club Med, Nike, and Intel. Chef Frederick has been certified by the American Culinary Federation and is a certified serve safe instructor and proctor. He is also the co-founder of the Portland Kitchen, a free program teaching culinary skills, social skills, and healthy disciplines to teens. With that, Earl, I will hand it over to you.
Oh, hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. Once again, I'm Chef Earl Frederick. I love what I do. I consider myself not to have a job. This is a lifestyle for me. So basically everything that I teach, I actually live. So this isn't a job for me. I love doing what I do. And I would say the number one thing that you need in any field that you're trying to pursue is passion. So if you're going to work, and it's not like punching a clock, you're just going in doing what you do, you found something that you really love. So like I said, that's what I love to do is cook and teach people how to cook. So once again, this isn't a job for me, it's a lifestyle. Tell a little bit about myself. Asha gave a great introduction as far as culinary schools and places I've worked. But before that, when I was in high school, I could honestly tell you culinary arts was the furthest thing from my mind. I'll be real candid. I was following a rough crowd, and my sophomore year of high school, basically, my guidance counselor, he sat me down and says, "Hey, you're either gonna follow the path of your friends, end out on the streets, or in jail or dead, or you can go to vocational school. So you need to look into this program." So, I looked into it, and I seen this culinary arts program. That's one thing that caught my eye. Being that my grandmother and my grandparents were sharecroppers from North Carolina. So in the summers, I would spend my time, cleaning collard greens, snapping beans, shucking corn. I thought that was a natural thing until I go back, the next year, tell my classmates what I did. They're like, "What in the world are you doing?" Coming from upstate New York, that's kind of foreign to a lot of people, but it actually prepared me for that path. So that being said, I says, "Hey, I know how to cook. I know what my grandmother taught me. So let me go ahead and go to this culinary arts program," which I only thought I was going to be there for like, I don't know, a month or so, and then probably go back to doing what I was doing. I was fortunate enough to have an instructor, though, that kind of saw something in me. Basically all those lessons that I learned from my grandmother correlated into the curriculum. So basically when they're going to classic French, we're making, let's say, a bechamel or a velouté, right? I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a gravy. Yeah, my grandmother makes that in a cast iron skillet." It's just called a different thing. So I started connecting the dots at an early age, and once I, started getting into that field where I'm like, wow, I can actually do this and I can make money, it just, it set me on that path. And had it not been for, Chef Young pushing me, encouraging me, I wouldn't have got that scholarship to Johnson and Wales University. I wouldn't have been in the position that I'm currently at. So one thing I want to say is mentorship. That's very important. So whoever is your mentor, or if you don't have a mentor, right, reach out to somebody. There's always going to be somebody willing to teach you. It's very important to have that support system. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be in the position I am now. Like I said, I love doing what I do, and knowing that potential that I had in high school was realized, set me up to where I'm at now. Tell you a little bit about Walt Disney World. That's where I based my culinary arts career on. I started there when I was 19 years old. So basically, fresh out of the pan into the fire. I'm working with, industry professionals, grown men, grown women at that time. And it was just sink or swim. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell you it was easy. It was very hard. It was nights I went home, like, I don't know if this is going to be the profession for me, but it's just one of them things you got to keep at it. And I had, once again, a great support system. That's one thing I learned from Disney. Food is secondary. It's about community. It's about who you work with. It's about having that good support system. And then everything else will come later on. You'll be successful as long as you have the right people around you to guide you. But yeah, very fun place to work. It is the most magical place in the world. Yes, it is. But it is intense, and it's very strict when it comes to food safety standards. So once again, it's kind of why it molded me into the path that I'm currently in now. Yeah, like I said, I love what I do. I've been at Walt Disney World. I've been at Nike. I've been at Intel. I work for Job Corps. That was really the basis of my teaching career. And it really prepared me for what I'm doing right now. I just look back at some of the, times I had at Job Corps, and it correlates to exactly what I'm doing right here at Clark College. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about Clark College. We got a 20,000 square foot facility. Like Asha had said earlier, I am a certified Serve Safe instructor and proctor. If you don't know what that is through the National Restaurant Association. Is a certified program. All 50 states recognize this. The certification is good for 5 years. So if anybody's taking the food handlers exam, is probably about 100 times more intense than that right there. So,
no problem. I just thought I was pulling up the questions that I sent. So, you've talked a little bit about what motivates you about the culinary field. What options are there to get started? So you were lucky enough to get into the program that you mentioned before on culinary when you were in high school, and then with Johnson and Wales. But what about a student here in the Gresham East County area? What do you think their options are to get started? What would you recommend?
Well, you have a lot of good high school programs. I do believe Centennial has a good one. Barlow has one. Um, Over the river here in Vancouver, we have the Skills Center. So any kind of like vocational training you can get on top of the your standard schooling, that's going to really help. Even if it's an outside entity. Portland Kitchen, it doesn't exist anymore. We had to close that down, and for other reasons out of our control. But any kind of hands-on program, Sir Latab actually has some good cooking classes just to get your feet wet. What I would say, this is kind of how I did it when I got out of Johnson & Wales. I would do what's called a stage. And that's pretty much a unpaid job shadow. So basically what I would do is I would go into a restaurant that I really thought that I liked. And I would go in and ask, hey, can I go ahead and interview? Do you have any positions open? They say no. Like, it's okay. Well, I'm in culinary school, and I just want to see if this will be the right path for me. More than likely, they're going to let you go ahead and kind of shadow. So pretty much, my grandma used to say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So you got to be out there, right? They're not going to go ahead and give you this opportunity. You got to go ahead and seek it yourself. So I would definitely say, that's a good option. Learning from a chef, learning for like one of the restaurants you eat at a regular basis, and then look behind the scenes. They're more apt enough to go ahead and give you the opportunity. Take it graciously. Write down notes. Act like you really, really want it. Even if there's a job not involved, that speaks volumes. Because when I'm in restaurants, those are the people that I'll probably call back later on if I do have a job opening. Because I remember how inquisitive this person was. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give them a shot. So.
Well, I want to say thanks on that because for me, as I recruit businesses in the East County area, that's a great way for me to look at it as well. Is like, what do they have going on behind the scenes? What can they do to ask, encourage them to ask those questions, encourage them to be inquisitive, and also to ask the right questions of restaurants where it's like, I don't want to bog down your operations every day. So that's great for me too. What skills and attributes would make a student successful in this field?
Being on time, that's first and foremost. In any industry, but more so the hospitality industry, if you're on time, you're late. So be there early. I encourage my students, right? If you're there at 9 o'clock, guess what? You're behind the 8 ball, because then you're going to have to go ahead and put on your jacket, do all of this stuff. And then by the time you're ready for class, it's 9:15. So if you think about this in the work world, right? If I punch in and I still have to get ready, that's kind of like you're stealing the time from your employer, right? So once again, it's about preparation. Every day, what I do the night before, I have everything that I need for the next day. Because hey, what happens if I oversleep? What happens if it's an emergency? What happens if our dog is sick or something? Things can happen. So at least I know I have everything set. So it's almost like a shopping list. There's a little term in culinary arts called mise en place. Put everything in its place. And that pretty much is the basis of culinary arts. I mean, you just got to be prepared, right? I tell my students, I want to give you the keys. I want to give you all the information you need, but it's up to you. You get out what you put into it. So I'm going to give you the keys, but it's on you to go ahead and drive that car,
So being on time, being prepared, when you were in your program in back east, kind of what attributes as a high school student were you always curious about things that went on around you? Did you want to know how things work? Kind of what led you to being interested in culinary, besides what sounds like a really amazing grandma and grandfather? What kind of skills as a person did you think that led you towards culinary?
I would say, actually, can you repeat that last question?
Yeah. So what skills as a person did were you curious about the world around you? Was it just a fascination with food, or was it, you looked at a certain class and thought, wow, that's kind of interesting. What classes, what skills, what kind of things as you as a person was attracted you to culinary?
I would say curiosity. That was definitely key. Like I said, I had a basis from my grandmother, my mother, my aunties, cooking. So soul food, Caribbean food, that's all I really knew, besides, I had New York, I had a lot of friends from different ethnicities. So yeah, when I go over there to their house, Puerto Rican cuisine, Guamanian cuisine, Guyanese cuisine. So things that, people aren't really familiar with, I was already familiar with. So when the chef at the time would, say something in French, so to speak, But then he would go ahead and I would connect the dots and actually see it, make them like, that's familiar to what what my grandmother made. So that just roped me because it's a whole different way, even though it's similar. That's one thing that got me. Food is universal. And one thing he always told me is food is communal too. So the best sound in the kitchen after you go ahead and feed your guests is silence. And I remember that. We would go ahead and eat, and it's like, and he would say, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" And everybody like, "Oh, okay." Like, okay, I did my job because I know I delivered good food, and everybody is focused on that right there. So once again, food to me is more than just sustenance. I mean, it builds communities. I mean, everybody's got to eat. You're always going to have a job in this industry. I mean, I know it may look gloomy right now with a lot of restaurants closing and things of that nature, but it's just so many different paths you can take. For example, in Intel right now, I used to work there, and I still have friends that work there. They've been employed through this whole time because it's business dining. They found a different niche. Intel still has to run. Intel still has to get fed. So basically, is how you go ahead and navigate what you want to do to make sure that your job is sustainable and you have longevity in there. So yeah, curiosity. Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm still learning. I still consider myself a student, even though I'm a teacher, because I'm learning from my faculty. I'm learning from my students. I'm learning and I read every day. So once again, knowledge is power. So I want to just be as curious as I possibly can.
I appreciate that. I really like the food as community. When I was lucky enough to work at URCO for 3 years, and I had the opportunity to walk into the kitchen or communal break room and see a ton of different people from different communities together trying each other's food. But this was pre-COVID. I just want to say pre-COVID, when we could all still do that confidently. I learned so much about food. I learned a lot about community. I learned about what it takes to bring people together. And I think that's a really key thing of, trying different things and using it as a motivator to bring people together. That's really fascinating. What career options, so you kind of segued naturally, which is great, from what career options are in this field? Obviously, you're a professional chef and you're a teacher. But if a student were to go into culinary, are there things in food technology, business dining? What other opportunities do you see in the world of culinary?
Yeah, there's so many different opportunities, and they say, but it took a pandemic to kind of level the playing field, so to speak, kind of weed, certain operations out. That's not sustainable. I come from a fine dining background when I worked at Disney World, right? And that's very tough to, sustain right now. I mean, I read an article this morning, Vitaly Paley is closing down, Imperial. So, this is a top chef, been on, Iron Chef America, has all these accolades, Jane Beard Award. But once again, if you don't have a sustainable model, then it's not going to be a career path. So basically what I tell my students is look for a place that's going to be sustainable. Like you mentioned, business dining, right? When I worked for Intel and worked for Nike, that was a whole different world for me. I mean, basically when I work at Nike, I'm like, oh, wow, I get to work for Nike? Oh, this is great. Even though you're a contractor, the thing is I was looking at the benefits more than I was looking at the pay. Right, so I had my 401k, I had health, I had vision, dental. So I know a lot of high school kids or younger age kids will not think about that. But you got to look at it. It's not just a dollar amount; it's the benefit package that you have involved in there. So once again, these corporations, even though it may not be like fine dining, you're still gonna be able to go ahead and learn culinary arts. But you're also gonna have a cushion. If you get sick, you're gonna have that insurance. So those jobs that actually offer those intangibles, that's kind of where I always try to stir students in that direction. Senior living facilities, I've worked in those as well, right? It's just one of them things that right now, I mean, there's so many, I'm over here in Vancouver, there's so many that's building up. Currently I have about 6 students working right now at the quarry. So once again, it's a 24/7 operation. They're able to work, just weekends and weekdays and weekends off. So once again, it's about quality of life rather than just, doing what I did, 20, 30 years ago and turn and burn in the kitchen and work 80-hour weeks. That's not sustainable. That will burn you out to the point where you don't even like this. Also, this profession is not like you see on Hell's Kitchen, right? That's TV. Food Network paints a good picture, but that's really not reality, right? You're not going to be top chef right off the bat. So once again, there's the realities of this industry, but, there's plenty of different avenues. Food stylist. One of my colleagues from Johnson & Wales, she works as a food stylist for Food Network. So basically, when they say, we'll be back, And then they have this plate of nicely prepared food that they went ahead and did. They didn't do that. The chef didn't do that. It's the people in the back that's styling that food. So that's another career path, right? Molecular gastronomy. That's something that is taking off right now. You got a place to modernist cuisine right up there in Seattle. So the Pacific Northwest, I mean, you got so many different options. Butchers, right now, supermarkets, that's essential workers, right? Well, butchers, if you're a journeyman butcher, you can start at about $30 an hour if you know what you're doing. And you're union. So once again, you have longevity in jobs. So that's kind of where I'm focusing. COVID made us pivot a lot, but it didn't make me pivot so much that it's not anything that I haven't been talking about already. So
absolutely. I'm so incredibly grateful for our butcher, because I've done some butchering, and oh my goodness, I have a whole level of respect for the art that comes along with that, and really what it is. And I'm more than grateful. So, and I think that that's great. That's something I learned today, which is I didn't know you could have a journeyman. I didn't know that they had those same levels that you do in other industries, and that's fascinating. But the stylist, I think people forget a lot about food stylists, like Carl's Jr.'s burgers.
Yep.
To use a very generic example, don't fall onto the plate looking that good on TV. There's actually someone behind, and it's great that you're encouraging your students to look at outside of the box areas. And you would have to know food, right? Like going through culinary school, you have to know food to know how it's supposed to look and taste and all of those other things. So that's really exciting. So I believe, did you have a video you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, let me see if I can even pull that up, man. If you could give me to share the screen.
You should be able to share your screen, and make sure when you do that it says that you share your audio as well.
Okay. All right, let's see.
All been waiting for. Yeah, nice.
So hold on one second. I'm trying to get there.
That's okay. It's Zoom. We're all making it work.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh boy. Hold on. Speaker mode. Exit. You know, you'd think that this would have been worked out ahead of time, but I swear to you,
That happens to me.
Should allow you to share your screen. I'm going to go ahead and make you host, and that should allow you to share screen.
Yeah, I think that'll work. All right, yeah, there we go. Okay, so screen 3. All right, so once again, I'm a barbecue person. That's my thing. I actually got a short course that we're going to be doing here in the spring for Clark College. So this is a little quick, excuse the quality of the video. It was from my phone, but at the same time, it shows you a little bit about what we do there outside of the curriculum. So. You see it?
Welcome back.
Good to go.
Here's what you all been waiting for. You got a nice smoke, nice bark on here, nice rested rack of ribs. So I want to show you something, right? Now, granted, I want to tell you something about the coals. So if you have an extra amount of coals, please do not put water into your barbecue grill. What you're going to do is going to create almost like a cement. It's going to be really nasty on your grill. Don't do that. Make sure that you either let it cool down completely overnight with a lid on there so the embers don't come out, or do what I do. I have a stainless steel garbage can that I just use for coals. Or what you can do is sift it out and put it into a big metal container and put water in it. Gotta make sure they're out there. Don't put water in your grill. This isn't a campfire, right? That being said, to cut these now, which is everybody I know is waiting for, well, one thing I always suggest with beginners, right, flip it over. So you can flip it over and you can see exactly where the bones are coming out. Another way you know these are done, you see how the bones are kind of protruding out, right? That's bark, that's not burnt, right? So you see how they're almost coming out, right? I'm gonna do that same test again. The bend test. Now you see that right there, That is what you're talking about. A perfectly cooked rack of ribs right there, right? So last thing we're gonna do is cut into it. So you can see, I'm gonna give it a good bite. We're just gonna go ahead and cut right now. So we're gonna get one bone, and because I am the chef, I'm taking the piece I think is the best. So once again, just with your fresh knife, I'm gonna show you this right here. Juice still in there, right? So once again, you see nice little smoke ring right there. Pretty proper rib, right? Now, proper rib. Still got the bite marks in there. Not falling off the bone. Still juicy, tender. There you go. Ribs 101. Enjoy it.
Okay, you're killing me because I've had your food and that I remember how good of a chef you are. So that is just torture for me right now, especially as it gets closer and closer to lunch.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we still do that over there. I just wanted to show you a little snippet. We got a whole video library of things we did, but yeah, that was just one of the shortest ones and straight to the point.
Talk a little bit, you just mentioned about what you do outside the classroom. So was that just, do you get to come up and do your own kind of lesson plans with various things? So it's, you might have your curriculum, but then you get to do barbecuing, like you said, serve safe. And then you said you were doing something for baking and culinary as well.
Yeah, so basically we have short courses. So these are additional courses that you'll need to take. I think it's up to 6 credits that you need to take additionally. And that's a part of your degree. So it's pretty much to enhance all the stuff that you're going to learn in the curriculum. So you're going to learn classic French, just about any. We all went to culinary school. We all been in the industry. So we're taking everything we learn and giving it to you at an affordable price. So you're going to get the education of the CIA, Johnson and Wales, but you're going to pay a lot less. That being said, we do have these short courses. So we have meat cutting and fabrication. We got my barbecue class. We have a garde manger class. My counterpart, Chef Aaron, does that. So he does a lot of vegetable and fruit carvings, ice carvings, things of that nature. We have a wine appreciation course. We have a restaurant baking course that you can take. All right. So there's multiple different courses that will go ahead and kind of add to being a specialist, so to speak. And that's another thing I want you to understand, right? It's good to be well-rounded, but it's also nice to specialize in the area. Like my expertise is barbecue, right? So I know I'm proficient with every other aspect of the kitchen, but I'm a specialist in barbecue. That's my thing. It's like, you want to go ahead and learn that. That's kind of why I have that short course. We'll incorporate a little bit of that in the regular curriculum, but things like that, what I just showed you, that's going to be outside. So that class is actually a 5-hour class on Fridays that is going to get in depth. We talk about the science of wood. We talk about the science of charcoal. We talk about smoke versus pellets. I go into it. I go down deep. Like I said, I'm a food nerd. So you're going to be learning things that like you didn't even realize was happening. Right. So I want you to know the why. I don't want to just think about a chef and a cook, right? A cook knows what to do, right? But a chef knows why, right? So once again, you want to know that why. You don't want to just be a robot. So
that's fantastic. There's lessons you taught me even hanging around the kitchen back at Job Corps where I still will use different oils or I use different heats and stuff. And so I just want you to know, as somebody who's not a chef, I've definitely learned from you and still use those things. One thing I did, you and I had touched on it previously when we were chatting about setting this up, was talk a little bit about Clark College. You don't have to show the video, but a little bit about Clark, because I believe Oregon Culinary shut down. So it's my understanding that Clark is really the only culinary educator in town at this point that has the level of dedication and experience, but then also affordable. You've talked a little bit about that with me as well, that it's a way for students to access education. It's a local community college, but it's got really strong programming.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Let's give you background. I actually went through the baking and pastry program at OCI. So I actually know all of those instructors, and I've known them even before I took that program. I went there because their expertise. But yeah, you're right. There's only one other culinary school, and that's not even a comparison. They're right down the road from us. I'm not going to mention their name. I'm not going to give them a free plug. But Yeah, they don't even offer a accredited degree. We offer an accredited degree. So that's an accredited degree throughout Washington State. Pretty much that means if you get this associate's, you won't be high and dry like OCI. OCI wasn't accredited. So basically you have a bunch of students that, and I've heard the stories, you know, they're one semester away from graduation and they need their externship, but now they're holding, you know, a $40,000 piece of paper that doesn't mean anything. So our 2-year degree is about $14,000 compared to 40. So once again, it's just one of the things. Value, don't think it's cheap education. No, it's affordable because it's a community college. And I guarantee you in the next couple of years, this is where that education shift is going to be going. The career technical programs, the trades, so to speak, you know, that you'll understand that the unionized work that we have in there is going to really pay dividends right there. So yeah, we got a great program at Clark. I couldn't share a screen. I do have some pictures of the kitchen so you can see.
That would be great.
Yeah, we have about a 20,000 square foot facility. See if I could share the screen here. So I'm going to show you a little picture of my slideshow here. And the first person you're going to see is one of my favorite people there, Chef Allison Dolder. She's the head of the professional baking and pastry program. So these right here, croissants that they make, these are 100% from scratch. We've had Papa Hayden come in. We've had, what's the other bakery? Oh my gosh. Ken's Artisan. And basically we had all the top chefs from Portland come in here. Hands down, they said they haven't seen this work of lamination. They make their stuff 100% from scratch. Have a great laminator. So once again, you will learn a lot. It's a production bakery, right? Next right here we have that's the restaurant kitchen. So this is for our management program. So basically this is it can accommodate about 48 people in the dining room, but this is your service line right here. So right now we have to be kind of nimble. We are not in operation, of course, but we can accommodate banquets, you know, buffets, sit downs in this area right here. Here's one of the plates that they produce. So that's their Pacific style, you know, Northwest salmon right there. You got some couscous and some seasonal vegetables. Nice little beurre blanc right there. That's me right there. So once again, we do, you know, do real things. This is lobster fabrication. So once again, this is pre-COVID too. So as you probably already know, right? But basically, this is what you're gonna be doing. You kind of see the faces of some people like, oh God, we're gonna do this, but it's about respect. It's about, you know, doing these things so you can go ahead and be prepared as a chef, right? Here's another picture of the production. You know, that's a salad line right there. So once again, this is year 2. You see them with the blue hats on. Every single one of these students right now are employed in the industry. I got to just say that, you know, we got a 90-something%, you know, employment rate. So once again, it's about what you want to do here. Even though, like I said, you know, with COVID-19, it can be gloom and doom, but hey, there's always a way. People's always got to eat, right? So that's a little glimpse of our kitchen. We do fresh stock every day, right? So chicken stock, vegetable stock right there. These 100-quart stock pots. We got a nice candy burner there. So here's a little glimpse of the kitchen, the 20,000 square feet. The meat fabrication class that I was telling you about, here you go. So once again, they're breaking down, they're in there today, right now. This is the first day of that class. So they're breaking down, you know, front quarter and hind quarters of pigs. So they're breaking it down, knowing exactly from the whole carcass down to the actual primal cuts that you're going to need to get. I'm sorry, the retail cuts. So once again, we do get, you know, it's real education, real hands-on. You're not going to just be learning from a book. And then when you finish, you get to graduate. So once again, it's our first graduating class. Once again, every single one of them is employed right now. So that is paramount right there.
That's really exciting. I think the more so the employment side and the value that you're showing the students that come through your program. It's not just about the stats, right? It's about the fact that they're gainfully employed doing something they really enjoy doing, and the option to do a variety of different things within the culinary. I know I had a gentleman from Portland Opportunity Industrialization Center, POIC, share with me he used to be head of the food technology program there in terms of the things that make the stuff that you cut with. It's less so on the knife side, but more so on the the processing side, you know, like learning how to deal with the technology that you use in the kitchen to maintain it, et cetera. And I thought that was really fascinating as well. If you'll hand me back host, we'll see if anybody has any questions, then we will wrap up a little sooner than I anticipated.
All right, how do I do that?
Click on my name and more, and then it should tell me to say you can make me host.
Wait, your name.
Under panelists.
Oh, wait, I think I see panelists and hosts. There we go.
Perfect. All right. I'm not sure exactly how it's being shared. I know there were people attending that maybe or may not be sharing it with other classrooms. So I'll just say right now, if anybody does have any questions, go ahead and put them in a chat or raise your hand, and I'd be happy to pass those on to Earl. And if not, that's okay as well. Again, this is the first one. We'll figure out the logistics as we go.
Oh, one thing if I could mention too, we do have that, what is it called? Border County. So basically the in-state tuition price is available all the way up to Clackamas County.
So Multnomah County.
Yep.
And Clackamas. Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I just learned that yesterday as far as Clackamas. I wasn't aware of that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, obviously, you know, being in East County, we've got Mount Hood and they have great programs, but I'm grateful for you hopping on today to share Clark's because I know you have a lot of pride in it. I know you guys do a lot of great things, and I want to make sure I show options for students that are interested in the culinary program, especially with an instructor such as yourself. I'm not seeing any questions, and that's totally fine. It may come along afterwards, so I may reach out to you. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and say thanks to everybody that attended. Anybody that's watching, we're really grateful for Chef Frederick and his time. We'll do another one of these. I believe we have another one scheduled in 2 weeks on the calendar, maybe with a little bit different bent. I heard rumor of a gumbo demonstration. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you from all the attendees. Thank you from me, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for having me. Everybody have a good weekend.
All right, bye.